So basically, the second session is going to focus more on the prevention and mitigation actions to combat marine litter. And we have with us in this session Xavier from the management body of Ebro Delta, but we have also with us two representatives of NGOs from iSea and from SUNCE. iSea is in Greece and SUNCE, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is in Croatia. And before we go to these interventions, which will be showcasing activities on the ground and highlighting experiences and lessons learned, I would like to share with you, allow me to share my screen. Perfect. So, as I was saying, the emphasis of this presentation will be about putting the different pieces of the puzzle together. I know that some of you might be a little bit overwhelmed. You have been hearing about the fish gear, about Plastic Busters MPAs, about the GEF project, Act for Litter, and how all of these different initiatives, come together. So here I would like, with this intervention, to put together the storyline from the Interreg-MED Act for Litter project, which was, to my knowledge, the first project in the Mediterranean that dealt with the issue of marine litter in marine protected areas, to the Plastic Busters MPAs project, which is a follow-up project. So initially, the Act for Litter, and this is actually where I had the opportunity to meet Xavier. The focus of the project was to create an inventory of marine litter measures. So at the time, a lot of discussion, whenever referring to combating marine litter, was a special emphasis was placed always on removal and cleanup actions. And I'm really happy to see that we have moved further away from end-of-pipe solutions, and we are currently talking mainly about prevention actions. Also, the focus of the project was to develop a decision-making tool to facilitate MPA managers in prioritizing measures. This tool actually was quite innovative at the time, in the sense that you could introduce some fields related to the MPA profile in terms of area of coverage, in terms of capacities in place, in terms of financial resources in place, etc., etc., and then also in terms of the marine litter problem. And then it was allowing you to see a list of targeted, tailor-made actions. In addition to that, the Act for Litter project had put in place a mechanism to generate fit-for-purpose marine litter data. It was the so-called Act for Litter Marine Litter Watch Month, where for the first time MPA managers across the Mediterranean joined forces to develop a snapshot assessment of the problem of marine litter in their coastal areas. And based on these data sets, the partner MPAs of the project had the opportunity to elaborate MPA-specific marine litter action plans. And two of these pilot MPAs were the Ebro Delta Park and also the Thermaikos Gulf Protected Areas. And you will hear from Xavier and Anastasia later on how they operationalized some of the measures included in the action plan. So another innovative element of the Act for Litter was that for the first time, all the different measures that had been inventoried, they were sort of assessed from an MPA manager point of view. So basically, for each of these measures, it was identified what kind of role MPA managers can play in implementing these measures, because obviously in the management plan, there should be an emphasis on the measures that actually managers can put in place. So in addition to the implementer, there were also the other two roles that MPA managers could play as a facilitator and promoter of measures. So when we talk about national policies, obviously, and changes in national policies, MPA managers can only play the role of a promoter, promoting a specific solution to be taken up at institutional level, or to facilitate such kinds of promotion by bringing together different stakeholder groups and trying to achieve some kind of agreement at the event. So our emphasis was on those measures that MPA managers can be directly involved in the implementation. I will not go into the details, but these were the MPAs that developed MPA-specific marine litter action plans. And actually these action plans and the common denominator of this action plan, so the common measures that were shortlisted within these action plans, fed into a joint regional plan for marine litter management in the Mediterranean at MPA level. And in order to elaborate the plans, and I think that this may be of interest for the Platamuni MPA and for the other two MPAs coming up, but also for other MPAs who are attending today's workshop. This is just a quick overview of the different steps followed in the decision-making process. So basically, the 5 phases entailed the establishment phase, where all the data was collected in terms of the marine litter problem, and all information related to existing management plans, what they entailed, whether they address marine litter or not in the MPA, etc. Then the second phase entailed the analysis and scenarios. All this information was analyzed, and then a set of measures was shortlisted, also with the contribution of the decision-making tool that was elaborated. The third step entailed the setting of the vision. So basically, the stakeholder groups, through a participatory process that was initiated since the very beginning of the project, managed to come to an agreement as to which measures should be included in the management plan. And these measures actually, once upon they were agreed, the plan was formulated in the designing the future step, and actually through the Plastic Busters MPAs, some of these marine protected areas had the opportunity to realize the vision and to implement parts of the agreed measures in the management plans. But here I would like to stress that the joint management plan that we have in place, and I can share with you the links, was not just made based on the inputs of the Act for Litter partners, but we tried to seek a greater agreement at the Mediterranean level. And through MEDPAN, we reached out to around 120 MPAs across the Mediterranean, in order to identify which would be the priority measures for tackling marine litter in the region. And also we did that through the Plastic Busters MPAs project with the Plastic Busters MPAs partners. And here you can see the major measures that were identified. So these range from promoting best practices for tourism and recreation, but go also all the way up to putting in place solid waste management practices, replace single-use plastics, ban specific items and activities, and also dealing with fisheries-related items like activities such as establishing derelict fishing gear management schemes that you're going to hear a bit about later on. Just bear in mind that when these measures were shortlisted, there was no single-use plastics directive in place. So at the time, all these measures were quite pioneering. So where are we now today? So as I said, Plastic Busters MPAs addresses the entire management cycle of marine litter, and prevention and mitigation actions were at the heart. So based on the comprehensive diagnosis of the problem, we shortlisted several measures, and currently we have 9 pilot MPAs implementing different types of measures. 2 of them have been completed, and 4 demos are in the transferring phase. So I would invite you also, some of you, to join this transferring phase if you're interested in implementing measures. These are the demo MPAs, and in yellow color are those who are joining the transferring phase. And as you saw, we didn't have any MPA from Montenegro because there was no MPA at the time. But we had representatives of Montenegro in the advisory board of Act for Litter. So I think that it would be wonderful to have a follow-up also within the context of the Plastic Busters. And here I would like to stress that one of the key messages when it comes to the solutions for tackling marine litter within the scope of Plastic Busters is to promote the wise use of plastics. Oftentimes we hear a lot about plastics are toxic and this kind of, I would say, alarming statements. But the reality is that plastics is a brilliant material, and what we need to do is to try and respect the waste hierarchy and avoid, reduce the amount of plastics used, so do more with less, and then whatever is being used to remain within a circular economy context. And also here, I would like to say that based on the diagnostic analysis of the problem within the Plastic Busters MPAs project, but also within the scope of the Act for Litter, and actually I would be interested to see also within the GEF project and the results that Milica was highlighting, to which extent sea-based sources are a problem in the Montenegrin marine environment, because in the Mediterranean and in several marine protected areas, sea-based sources, so fishing and aquaculture activities, were found to be of major importance in terms of their contribution. And this is actually something that we have been stressing even from the fish gear era, when mussel nets from aquaculture farms were found to be among the top 3 litter items in Croatia and in Italy. So this quote that the majority of litter items comes from land-based sources versus sea-based, and sometimes we hear about this 80%, must be critically addressed, in the sense that for the sake of generalization it is mentioned, but the reality at MPA level might be very, very different. So we need to take into account, and we need to base our shortlisting of measures on the actual data. And another point that I would like to highlight is that we all need to be very careful when it comes to choosing the right solutions, in the sense that there has been a lot of conflicting messages, I would say, out there when it comes to addressing marine litter. There used to be a time that we talked a lot about cleanup operations. We have realized now that maybe in some marine litter hotspots, this is the way forward. Obviously, in rocky bottoms, for example, this is very hard and very resource intensive to be done. And in some cases, it might also be destructive when it comes to the integrity of the seafloor of the MPA, for example. But also we realize that, for example, microplastics cannot be scooped out from the oceans. So obviously end-of-pipe solutions are not a priority and should not be a priority. And in addition to that, also creating confusion and talking about replacing conventional plastics with bio-based plastics. And we hear that oftentimes in very high-level fora. Bio-based plastics are the same. Basically, the only thing that changes is the raw material. But at the end of the day, the final product is made out of the same polymer. So at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with the problem of marine litter. Maybe it has to do with the problem of the use of renewable sources, but this is an entirely different story. And then I will not go into details, but I would like to stress the issue of biodegradable and compostable plastics, that oftentimes these concepts are not clear. They are used relatively easily within different even position papers and even policy papers. I would like to stress that in particular in our region, in the Adriatic and Ionian, but I would even say in the Mediterranean, where very few countries, if any, have rarely a scheme for composting plastics. Okay, so if you don't have a composting scheme in place, there is no point of using compostable plastics, because compostable plastics will only compost in managed settings. They don't compost in open environments like the marine environment. This is one thing. And then considering also the implications for the recycling, these are things that we need to keep in mind when trying to shortlist solutions. And I would like here to stress also the example that recently, in the last 2-3 years, there has been a trend of replacing in the Mediterranean conventional plastic bags with compostable or biodegradable plastic bags. And I have asked several times, why? What is the benefit at the Mediterranean region of doing something like that? Because obviously, these bags will go to landfilling. So instead of promoting the reuse of plastic bags, of conventional plastic bags, for example, and this way eliminating the amount of plastics and the amount of waste, instead of just diverting from one stream, the recycling stream, if any, to the landfilling stream. As I said, also, it is important to use fit-for-purpose data. in order to base the different measures, to use participatory decision-making and bottom-up approaches, so to involve the different stakeholder groups who are important agents of knowledge, to define and include in the management plans feasible and effective solutions. For example, a very effective solution could be to ban smoking-related activities in the coastal and marine in MPAs. So we wouldn't have the problem that Milica highlighted about cigarette butts. But obviously, maybe in some Nordic country this could be very effective, but in our Mediterranean, banning smoking activities might prove to be something very hard, so might prove to be not so feasible. Then important is to have coordinated actions, and then to arrive to the operationalization of these solutions through a methodologically sound process. Here are the different measures that we have been implementing within Plastic Busters, and you will hear more from about the derelict fishing gear from Anastasia. Obviously, a lot of emphasis was on the replacement of single-use plastics, simply because single-use plastics are a major source of litter in the touristic locations of our region. And I think that also Xavier will touch upon the establishment of a reusable cup for beach bars and festivals in the MPA of the Ebro Delta. And here is just a snapshot of the two demos that we have been completed. One was implemented in Slovenia, and it was really a success, engaging 400 stakeholders in, on the one hand, carrying out the Adopt a Beach scheme and collect fit-for-purpose data for the purposes of the MSFD, but also in bringing together businesses from the tourism sector and engaging them in a certification process to minimize and phase out the use of single-use plastics. And the second demo has to do with addressing fishing gear with a special emphasis on derelict mussel nets that you will have the opportunity to hear more from Anastasia. So this was just a small, let's say, introduction to the Act for Litter and Plastic Busters emphasis on measures and the methodological approach followed to actually identify tailor-made measures. And I don't know if there are any questions, but perhaps it would be ideal to take all the questions at the end of the session and move to the next presenter, which is Xavier. Xavier, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Just a moment. Thank you very much to the organization for inviting me, but I have a problem. I never went to English class at high school, neither now, like an adult. My English is awful, horrible, and I'll try to do the best as possible. Okay, please, next one. Slide. Okay, Ebro Delta. Where are we? We stay now? We are located at the northwest of Iberian Peninsula. The Ebro Delta is located more or less at 180 kilometers from Barcelona, in south of Barcelona. It's next, please. Is the largest wetland in Catalonia and the second wetland in Spain after Doñana National Park. Its natural environments are formed by the river, the lagoons, the coastal lagoons, the beaches, dunes, salt marshes, etc. And please, intro. The landscape is dominated by the rice fields. Next one. Intro. In the Ebro Delta, there are 7 municipalities, 60,000 inhabitants, and 2 residential areas near the coast. And last one, please. The natural park, it's only 25% of the surface of the Ebro Delta and is located around the line coast. Next, thank you. Well, a part of a natural park, the natural park was created in 1983 to ensure the harmony between the natural values and their exploitation about the local people. The importance of the Ebro Delta is recognized worldwide. Natura 2000, Ramsar site, Europark charter destination, and reserve of biosphere. And the surface total protected are maybe 50,000 hectares. Come on, let's go. Oh, the main economic activities you can see here, it's the agriculture, basically rice fields, hunting, normally in winter, not now. The salt pans or salt works, marine salt works, aquaculture, fishing, now the tourism. Everybody discovered the Ebro Delta, and last summer it's a chaos. Come on. The main marine litter sources in the Ebro Delta are linked about the main activities. It's the river, the irrigation canals, the wind, the sea, and also the human activities that we develop in the Ebro Delta, like fishing, aquaculture, and tourism are the more main sources of marine debris in Ebro Delta. Well, last 2 years, we have the lucky to participate in the Act for Litter Interreg project. Tommy speak about them just a few minutes. And we do an action plan with 4 main lines. First one is the public awareness raising campaign. We promote the replacement of single-use plastics around the beach bars. We have a special agenda with cleanups campaigns, and finally a communication plan to get for communicate to the people what are we doing in the Ebro Delta. Well, what more? Next one, please. The actions with big success are the environmental education program. We have involved 3 high schools with a program called community services, when the students must complete 10 hours, only 10 hours, like a volunteer, and they destinate this time to follow the marine litter watch month, like this program, more or less. And there are some municipality beaches, and they do the monitoring of the litter in this beach. What more? We have the lucky to involve some stakeholders. For example, all local and regional administrations, all 7 municipalities are with us in this campaign called For a Clean Delta, Perun Delta Net. There are also the touristic association of the Ebro Delta, and in this moment, the beach bar owners, all the volunteer associations in the Delta, and this is very important, it's a big successful, the rice farmers and hunters. And we stay developing now environmental education program, a clean up agenda, and a permanent exhibition on marine litter. Next one, I explain 2 minutes more. Well, with the rice cooperative, the goal is Arrossaires del Delta. We have a collaboration agreement. They have two products: a packet of rice, a rice packet, and a spirit, liquor of rice liquor, and they give us the 1% of the benefits of the sale of these products to the park conservation. In one hand, we destroy the stomach of the people around the world with the rice liquor, but on the other hand, we preserve the nature. With this program, we have a budget every year around 300 or 6,000 euros per year destined for the conservation of the park. And last 3 years, we talked with the manager of the rice cooperative to destinate this budget, this money, to the for a Clean Delta campaign. And with this money, last year, in 2020, we have the opportunity to create a permanent exhibition in a very important information center of the Ebro Delta Natural Park, La Casa de Fusta. And we have this exhibition about the marine litter in the Ebro Delta. We have some pictures. And with the other money, we can buy big bags for cleanups, weight scales, gloves, and other materials for the cleanups. Next one, thank you. Well, we have the opportunity this year to participate in the Plastic Busters Interreg program. The Ebro Delta was one of the different pilot demos measures, and we tried to set up a reusable cap distribution system with the voluntary involvement of the beach bars, chiringuitos in Catalan and Spanish. Mussel bed bars, there are a very important aquaculture, and people can go to the mussel beds to drink and eat mussels or other things. And here there are 3 bars in the Ebro Delta, and we have the opportunity to facilitate these reusable caps. Also the chiringuitos. We stay, please, last one, thank you. We stay in few days to start this demo with the chiringuitos. There are in all Ebro Delta 9 beach bars and these 3 mussel bed bars. And I think so in few days we start this demo. Not only for the beach bars, also for the festivals that municipalities can organize these days. For example, sport events, rock concerts, or gastronomy journeys, for example. We are very impacientes to start, and it's a big opportunity to pat and to tackle the problem with the plastic in the Ebro Delta. Well, for me, it's all. Thank you very much. Excuse my English. I promise that next time it will be better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Xavier. Your English is perfect.
No, it's Tuesday, Monday. It's Tuesday morning. My English only runs Saturday night after 2 daiquiris, and today only water. I am sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing to our attention these very interesting points. I'm very familiar, of course, with the case study of the Delta Ebro, and just to highlight here that in the park there are rice farms, so this is one pressure as well, and this is why it is so interesting to see implementing a joint activity with rice farms associations, bringing this stakeholder that contributes to the problem also to kind of contribute to the solution. So this is one take-home message that I would keep from this intervention. And when it comes to the reusable cap system, I believe that Ebro Delta is one of the pioneering, if the only pioneer MPA that I am aware of, that is trying to establish such kind of measure. This measure, we had the opportunity to learn more about it during the AQUACULTURE final conference, and we learned about the Freiburg cap, which is a best practice showcase at pan-European level. And the idea is that by taking this cap, you give some kind of you sort of pay a small amount for this cap, and then when you return it, you get a deposit. You give a deposit, and then I don't know in Ebro Delta how much of this deposit have you are you placing a deposit on this? I mean, will they pay, I don't know, like €1 when they take this cap in order then to bring it back? Because you didn't tell us that.
Yes, but if somebody likes the glass, likes the cap, no problem. Take with you, and we have €1 for replace, for buy another more glasses in the future.
So this
because
is
the idea is have more or less 15,000 caps glasses, okay, for the program. But a tourist like the cap, they can give home, and with the money we can buy more caps. Yes.
So this is an interesting way of minimizing the use of single-use cups, and obviously because with our Mediterranean mentality, maybe it's not so easy for people to go to festivals with their own cup from home. So this could provide a solution for those ones who don't do that, to actually get a cup. So I think that this is we are looking forward to seeing the actual results on the ground from this important initiative. But I think that it's gonna be one of the most relevant solutions for many MPAs. Are there any questions for Xavier? Or perhaps at the end of the session? I don't see anything on the chat.
Dania raised the hand, so maybe she wants to intervene. Dania?
Okay, Dania. The floor is yours.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yes, thank you, Xavier, for this interesting presentation. Yeah, I think last time we discussed whether there is any, money that needs to be paid. So now it's clearer. And to me, even though I think the initiative is quite new, but did you sense any change, for example? Even if a person would pay this 50 cents or whatever to take the glass and drink the times they want to drink, is it reducing finally keeping it on the beach? So are people getting back to you, giving it back, or taking it back home, or is the sensitivity for the payment not very high, and people after a few drinks they just keep it where it is and it's not getting effect? Did you sense any change? It's interesting to know.
Well, we are Mediterranean. Take the glass and pay €1. What are you doing? What are you saying me? I want a beer and forget me, no? But I think so. It's better pay €1 for take the plastic reusable cup, and you can go to the sun, because here in Catalonia beach it's forbidden take a cup of glass and go to the sun, because it's dangerous for the health, no? And I think so the €1 the deposit, it's a solution for the system. You understand me? I explain.
Sure. So yeah, but, I think the message is that you are seeing positive effects. No.
But if somebody like the glass, and we will take from home, we have €1 for in the future replace it and have more glasses for the campaign. It's not a problem, I think so. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dania. Are there any other questions? Someone who would like to?
I see also Josep Canals from MedCity that raised the hand, so I can. Okay.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me well? I would like to intervene not on behalf of MedCities this time, but on myself. Felicitat, Xavier. Congratulations. Just to provide my experience on this, as I mentioned in another forum, 10 years ago, I had the opportunity as a mayor of my municipality to boost a campaign like this with the renewable, reusable cups. And I would like to provide my experience is that firstly the reaction was a bad reaction from the public in the in the festive each time the patron saint festivity, which we in Catalonia we celebrate a lot in each summer. The first reaction were bad. We don't want to pay, but there is some kind of what experts call the elasticity of the price, which the people finally assuming, or is assuming the price, and a euro is not a high price. So the result at the end of the concerts, for example, is great, because you don't have a sea of plastic or single-use plastics, glasses or cups scratched on the floor. You don't have that. It's very nice. But at the end, from year to year, we realized that more and more people are taking the cups to their homes, because the municipalities and the organizers of these concerts are trying to put imagination in the design of the cups, and are beautiful. And €1 is less valued each year that passes on. So in my experience would be that maybe the final goal is not to have this euro, sorry Xavier, but not to have, I know that it is attractive to have this euro for making other, to replace more cups, but I think that the final goal would be not to have to reinvest in new cups. So in my opinion, and me as a collector of this kind of cups, I'm guilty myself also. I think that maybe the price it depends on the places, but at least here in Catalonia, that this kind of measures has been taken for more than 10 years. I think the €1 is considered nothing, and many people are taking the cups to their homes. So it's reusable at the homes, but at the end, it's not reusable at the concerts. And just to finalize, I'm one of the people that provides 1% by purchasing this rice liquor, which is fantastic, I have to say.
Thank you very much for this intervention.
Thank you.
Xavier, there is a question from you, from Andrea, I think, right? From Andrea from Brioni National Park. So she was asking how much time it took you in order to operationalize this kind of measure. So since day 0, when you decided to have a reusable cup and to sort of phase out the use of single-use plastics, how much time did that take you, and whether you followed some kind of roadmap or something?
Well, 2 or 3 summers ago, we give some reusable cups to the beach bars, but we have any monitoring system after give the cups to the beach bar owners. Mm-hmm. And with the Peru Delta Net campaign, for a clean Delta campaign, we decided to implement this demo in the Plastic Busters program, and we started at work in winter with the municipalities. And now in May we started the awareness raising campaign. We have a reunion, a meeting with the owners of the beach bar owners, and all are very excited to participate in this program. And it will be started the next days, and the end is in the middle of September, or the end of September, when the tourist season finish. I answered the question, or?
I think yes. So yes. It is less than 1 year that it took you to sort of conceptualize and put the foundation for implementation.
Because with the owner, beach bar owners, it's impossible to do this demo. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Xavier. If I may say so also to Andrea, that very soon, because this demo has been based on specific guidelines that we have elaborated within the scope of Plastic Busters. And once the demo will be completed, they will be refined based on the experiences, and they will be made published. So you can then use the experience of Ebro Delta in your scope of work in Briouни National Park. Thank you too. I think that it's time. Thank you very much, Xavier, and thank you for ruining your holidays to join us. It's well appreciated. And now I would like to give the floor to Anastasia Charitou from iSea. And she will present their experiences in implementing a measure dealing with derelict fishing gear. So Anastasia, nice to see you again. Kalimera.
Kalimera. Thank you for the invitation. Really nice to see some of you again and share all these valuable experiences and information. Should I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So I represent the Greek NGO iSea. iSea is located in Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki is the second largest city of Greece. And Thermaikos Gulf Protected Areas are located near this big city. So in the context of Plastic Busters MPAs, we conducted a pilot action for the prevention and mitigation of marine litter in the Thermaikos Gulf Protected Area in collaboration with the Management Authority of Thermaikos Gulf, Blue Cycle, and supported by MIO, the Mediterranean Information Office, and in close collaboration with THOMAIS VLACHOGIANNI. So as you can see, Thessaloniki is located on the north of Greece. The ecosystem services that the protected areas provide to the extensive area of Thessaloniki are the reason for the development of Thessaloniki. There is the National Park of Axios Loudias Aliakmon. Its ecological value is designated through its protection from different directives. And of course, it's a part of the Natura 2000 network. There are lots of rare and endangered species in the area when it comes to the flora and fauna that it hosts. But also the activities that are taking place in the area are really important, not only for the local community, but also for the broader area of North Greece. In the protected areas, there are the most productive plains in Greece. So there are lots and intensive agricultural activities. Also, intensive stock breeding takes place. Just to highlight that there are the estuaries of 4 rivers in the area, 2 of them forming deltas, and the area is a wetland complex with that many marshes, lagoons, and salt flats are formed there. So there are also fishing activities and intensive mussel farming activities. There are the largest mussel farming fields in Greece, are located in the area of the Thermaikos Gulf, and they are the second largest in Europe. Of course, this poses pressures and threats to the local ecosystem. One of them is the water pollution that is mainly caused due to the agricultural and industrial activities that take place not only in Thessaloniki or Greece, but the rivers that flow out in the Thermaikos Gulf across different countries and different industrialized areas. And another, of course, pressure is the litter pollution of the area. So based on the data that iSea collected from 2016, all the beaches that are located in the national park and close to the mussel farming activities are considered as very dirty according to the SCCI. And mussel nets are the most abundant litter item that is found. So the baseline for our pilot action was set during the Indirect Med Act for Litter project, during which an action plan was developed by the management authority of the area under the guidance of the MIO. And one of the priority measures was relevant to the derelict fishing gear management schemes. The priority measure that we worked on was aiming to raise awareness about litter pollution to the mussel farmers, the fishermen, and all the local community, and to promote co-responsibility. So according to the action plan, the pilot action included field visits, interviews, workshops, and data collection, concrete prevention actions, and the evaluation of the action. Of course, taking into account the COVID pandemic that we had to face during the previous year, the actions we implemented and the steps we followed was to monitor 3 selected beaches which were located near the area where the mussel farming fields are located and near the ports that are mainly used from the fishers and the mussel farmers. We also assessed the presence of fishing gear according to the interviews we implemented with the mussel farmers and the fishers. During the interviews and the field visits we conducted, we came in touch and interpersonal contacts with the representatives of their associations and the fishers and the mussel farmers themselves. So we had the opportunity to discuss with them their view about the issue, their intention to be part of the solution in order to solve this problem in the area, and of course the problems that they are also facing due to this litter pollution of the area. So it was also an opportunity to promote best practices for the management of the materials they use, since there is not the option of replace the materials that they already use. And set the baseline in order to establish collection stations and develop a management scheme for the best management of these materials that are used. According to the monitoring, which of course took place based on the harmonized monitoring approach, more than 65% of the litter items found in these selected beaches are related to fisheries and aquaculture, and particularly 60% of these are mussel farming nets and the strings that mussel farmers use in order to tie these nets they use. And according to their answers, they were in accordance with our findings. And we assessed that almost 2 to 3 million plastic items of nets are disposed annually in the area. The next step was to remove the collected mussel nets from 2 selected areas, which are close to these selected beaches. So a total number of more than 20 tons of abandoned mussel nets were collected. All of the steps took place in collaboration with the Association of the Fishers and the Mussel Farmers, and of course with the competent authorities. And all these materials collected were driven to Blue Cycle, where a Blue Cycle is a company that mechanically recycles fishing gear. So the materials were shredded, tested, cleaned, and they are now raw material for the plastic industry. Some of the obstacles we faced was, first of all, something we didn't expect to face, was the cost of the transportation of the materials. We think that all the other steps in order to establish these management schemes were, they were achieved, but the transportation of these materials are something difficult to face. But now, at this point, the district governance of the area and the associations of the fishers and the mussel farmers are willing to not pay, but be included in this cost for their transportation in order to ensure that their management will be maintained through the time. And of course, in order their intention to be part of the solution was really clear from the first time, but the baseline was that the solution also serves their needs and doesn't pose extra difficulties to them. And some of the main lessons learned and confirmed is that collaboration, not only with the key stakeholders, but with all the stakeholders in the area, in this particular pilot action, not only master farmers and the government and the fishers were involved, but also all the local authority and people that are working with different activities in the area. They were engaged and actively involved. And we believe that this is the key aspect in order to maintain this solution from their side. And thank you very much. Hope that I was really...
Thank you very much, Anastasia. It is always interesting to hear, this intervention and this showcase, which is a success story. So are there any questions from the audience? I know that we're running a little bit late, but I promise you that also the showcase from TEA is very interesting. So are there any questions for Anastasia? Or Anastasia will be with us till the end of the session, so feel free to post them on the chat. And maybe we can move to TEA's Kuzmicic. Oh my God, I lost.
Arrossaires.
Yes, Arrossaires. It's not an easy name. Welcome, TEA.
Hi, everyone. I'll share my screen. Do you see it? Okay, great. My name is TEA Kuzmicic, and I'm from Association for Nature, Environment and Sustainable Development, SUNCE from Split. I'm a project manager and associate educator. So, sorry, do you see the next slide? Okay, just a second, maybe, okay. So something about SUNCE. Association SUNCE was founded in 1998 by a group of intellectuals in Split in order to respond to the society's need for an independent and professional organization that will offer solutions in environmental and nature issues. Today, SUNCE is present at the national and international level as one of the leading organizations for the protection of nature and the environment in Croatia. So as you can see, we have 25 employees, mostly women and only one man. Our vision is preserve the nature and the environment are fundamental values of the society in which we approach management through the application of the sustainable development, and our mission is actively contributed to environmental protection and nature conservation, and we achieve it through education and information research to create backgrounds and advocating responsible management. We have two programs and two departments, Environmental Protection and Sustainable Development Program and Nature Protection Program, and Department of Education and Information and Department of Environmental Law. So, what we do related to marine litter, we have direct actions, marine litter monitoring, annual marine litter monitoring, developing volunteer programs for cleaning coastal areas, underwater and coastal cleaning actions, and also this is the second part, advocacy, improving waste management system in Dalmatian region, implementation of related regulations and laws, and networking for information exchange and the implementation of EU directives, waste, SUP directive, etc. So a related project. We had a project called ML Repair, marine litter repair, reducing and preventing and integrating approach to marine litter management in the Adriatic Sea. That was international cooperation between Italy and Croatia. The goal of this project was prevention and reduction of waste input and dispersal in the Adriatic. This was project activities. We had a communication campaign for tourists. Let's beach about it. We did video on marine litter and other educational materials, created and distributed to Jadrolinia ferry, sail points, ferries, and catamaran lines. Also, we created and distributed paper ashtrays for the beach in order to prevent leaving cigarette butts. We had lots of educational activities for children. More than 600 children were educated about the importance of marine litter and ways of prevent it. And we did fishing for litter video. So we organized and designed exhibition Plastic Nightmare in 4 cities by the sea, Split, Dubrovnik, Zadar, Rijeka. The exhibition consisted of panels and educational games for children and attracted lots of media attention. And also we organized the exhibition of marine litter called Always Fresh at the fish markets in Split, Dubrovnik, Zadar, and Rijeka. And waste was collected during the monitoring and cleanup action of Zagla Beach on the island of Vis. The next project is Life Artina. Life Artina is a project more related to seabirds. So overall objective is to create the preconditions for the designation of new marine conservation areas important for birds in Croatia by creating a list of proposed new SPA cities, sites and developed of conservation measures for these areas. Some of the actions are marine litter monitoring in nature park Lastovo Islands, beaches and the sea surface, posters and planning of marine litter mitigation actions. Now we have 2 related and complementary projects, Plastics Smart Cities Croatia and for Plastic Free Croatian Islands. First one is Plastic Smart Cities Croatia. Plastic Smart Cities Croatia is the project funded by Worldwide Fund Mediterranean. This is the part of the global initiative Plastic Smart Cities. That is a Mediterranean Marine Initiative Action Plan to improve the protection and environmental conservation of the Mediterranean Sea and Worldwide Fund Mediterranean Small-Scale Fisheries to Plastic. So this project is funded, as I said before, by WWF Mediterranean, and we have 2 cities in Adriatic coast that is city of Dubrovnik and city of Trogir. So project objectives is reduce its own plastic footprint, act in accordance with the initiative No Plastic in Nature by 2030. In cooperation with partners, develop and adopt an implementation plan for the Plastic Smart Cities tools and the recommendations and launch a pilot project aimed at reducing plastic pollution by 30% within 2 years of the project. In cooperation with partners, develop a monitoring plan that sets out a starting point and annual targets, and it is part of the existing annual sustainability report. Appoint 1 representative of the cities as a person in charge for initiative Plastic Smart Cities, which will work closely with the association SUNCE. So we had first our activity in this project was to identify the interest local community partner for the implementation of Plastic Smart Cities tools and recommendation. We identified these 2 cities. This is city of Dubrovnik, pilot area and city of Dubrovnik, and city of Trogir. We did analysis of the existing plastic management system in these 2 cities. Because last week we finally signed action plan or a plastic-free plan for the long-term and sustainable implementation of Plastic Smart Cities tools and recommendation in city of Dubrovnik and Trogir. Today we have a capacity building workshop for key stakeholders in these two cities, and also in the autumn we will have four events, 2 forums and 2 public events for citizens of these two cities and for the relevant stakeholders. Also, one of the project activities is strengthen cooperation with the selected local community partner, WWF Adria, and other key national stakeholders in order to encourage the reduction of the plastic footprint in the Republic of Croatia. This picture is from the signing of plastic-free plan in Dubrovnik. Second project is a project. It's very similar to Plastic Smart Cities, but this project is related to Croatian islands. It's called for Plastic-Free Croatian Islands. Lead partner is Association SUNCE, and we have 3 project partners. Project partner Green Action Friends of Earth, and 2 island communities, that is the town of Stari Grad in island of Hvar and municipality of Salin, island of Dugi Otok. Project objectives: main goal is contributed to decrease of single-use plastic as well as plastic pollution in the Mediterranean Sea by fostering the implementation of sustainable waste management based on reduce, and recycle principle. We have 3 specific objectives: increase the specific knowledge and available information about waste management, educate and raise awareness of public about the impact of plastic pollution on marine environment, and third one is build local, national, regional partnership and strengthen the capacity of local partners for the successful implementation of sustainable waste management, decreasing use of single-use plastic and plastic pollution in 2 local island communities in Croatia. We have tons of project activities. This project started on 1st of October 2020, and it will be this is a 2-year project. We did plastic system analysis of curious single-use plastic in these 2 local island communities. Now we are in the process of developing a plastic-free plan, and it will be done by the end of October. After that, we will have capacity building workshops of key stakeholders for the successful implementation of the plastic-free plan or action plan. And by the end of the project, we will have implementation and monitoring of the local island communities' plastic-free plan. After we do this plastic-free plan, we will have also public forums and public events related to important local traditional events for local citizens and for key stakeholders. The 1st of July, finally, we will start with the national campaign. This national campaign has now and visibility that is a logo of a national campaign, together without plastic. We will have lots of activities related to our national campaign, related to key stakeholders, related to public. And by the end of the project, we'll have final conference and hope study trip, because this study trip was postponed for some better times. And also we had a capacity building and networking workshop, and through the whole project we had activities related to communication and advocacy action on local, national and regional levels. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thea. Thank you for providing us all of this information, these different initiatives taking place in Croatia. I don't know if there is any question from the floor for you. I haven't seen any on the chat, but I have actually two questions myself. The one question has to do with the initiative that you described in distributing ashtrays, paper ashtrays, and I wanted to ask you how this worked, because from our own experiences in Greece from years ago, and not just in Greece, in other Mediterranean areas, it didn't work very well in the sense that then you would find the paper ashtrays on the coast. This is one thing. And the second question is related to the plastics-free plan that you mentioned. Is this just a figure of speech in the sense that you are talking about single-use plastics-free plan, or you plan to phase out all sorts of plastics? And how do you plan to do that?
Okay, first question about ashtrays. We had very good reactions of people in this area for these ashtrays, but now we don't see them. So I don't know how that works. And second question about action plastic-free plan or action plan. So we had action plan for these 4 local communities. That is for local authorities and the pilot areas. It related to single-use plastic and some plastic that they can remove from their office.
Thank you very much. I think that this is important to stress because oftentimes for purposes of communication, we use and I saw that in general you have in all your initiatives, let's bitch about it. You have very attractive titles. Okay. But yes, and sometimes these attractive titles to some people who are not aware of the things might create some confusion, thinking that you will phase out plastics. And,
no, I think that it's all related to single-use plastic.
Yes, and I think that it's important maybe here to stress that initially, a lot of people were thinking, even when we talk about single-use plastics and phasing them out, that the alternatives would be paper. But now, apart from creating problems also with paper is not so innocent anyways. I don't know if the audience is aware of this, but recently the Commission has launched also guidance on the definitions included in the Single-Use Plastics Directive. So even the paper cups that are coated with plastics anyway in order to keep the fluid, they're also considered as plastics. So the way out is not so easy in the sense that instead maybe of changing materials, we should be focusing more on the reusability of the materials in the cycle. Thank you, Thea. So while I asked a question to Anastasia that was raised by the audience, maybe some of the participants would like to pose the question for Thea. So the question for Anastasia is the following. How did you find the fishermen's attitude towards your initiative? It was well received, it was positive.
So in the beginning and during our first communications, they were really suspicious because for a long period of time, the local community puts the blame on them for the situation in the area, which is true to a point. But there is also the other side that the local authorities do not own the facilities to help them in order to well manage their waste. So as soon as they realized that we are really struggling to establish a solution for them, and not just put the blame and look for the solution that they will decide, they will alone apply. They were really willing to participate. An example, when I first contacted the head of the association, of one of their association, he just switched off the phone to me. Not again, I'm not the one that you're looking for, etc. And as soon as we started talking with other fishers and locals from there, then he came in contact with me. And now I can tell that he's our closest collaborator to this effort. And the other good point that was raised was that we also brought in touch the district governance and the local municipalities. So they also promoted other measures for the municipalities to have such facilities in the area. For example, in the area, there are 4 different municipalities. One of them didn't own a green spot, which is makes our life easier, because when there is a green spot, we can transfer all the materials there and then transfer them to Blue Cycle, which is located in South Greece. And after we had a meeting all together, and they had a fight because politics always come up, and one of them is against the other, and that is what usually happens. Now the municipality decided to start establishing a green spot. So now all the fishers and their associations are in really good terms with us. Of course, there is always a minority that are still disposing their waste in the sea. But I think that as long as the majority is working close to us, things will get better.
Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you very much for the reply. So I don't see any additional questions unless I missed something. So I think that we can conclude this session, and I can thank you all for being here with us today and sharing your experiences. And I would like to encourage the audience to contact you in case they have in mind of replicating some of these measures in their own grounds. And with that, I think I can conclude my role as a facilitator and pass the floor to Sonsoles and Tanya. Is that correct?